Hi, everybody. Charlene O'Hanlon, Managing Editor at DevOps.com here and DevOps TV. I'm here for the second day of excitement at DevOps Enterprise Summit, Las Vegas, having some really interesting conversations and meeting some very, very smart people, including this group here who wrote a paper on work management systems. And so I'm hoping that they'll enlighten us with what they have to say about it. So to my immediate left is Keanen Wold, who is the DevOps Transformation / DevOps COE and Developer Practice Leader. That is a mouthful.
Yeah. At
Delta Airlines. Who and next to him is Rosalind Radcliffe, who is Distinguished Engineer, Chief Architect for DevOps for Z Systems at IBM. And I'm sorry about that, Rosalind.
Happens every time.
Every time. And then next to Rosalind is Scott Prugh, who is the Chief Architect and Senior Vice President of Software Engineering at CSG. And I've talked with a couple of folks from your company during the last few days. So welcome to you all. I appreciate your being here. So tell me a little bit about the work management systems paper, what it's all about, and what people can take away from it. Whoever wants to start.
Yeah, you can start.
All right, so we just have continued to see this recurring problem in companies that have multiple work management systems, and that really kind of creates an invisibility, kind of cloud of confusion of work. Team A doesn't know what Team B is working on. You have a value stream that flows across those multiple teams, those multiple work management systems, and no one really has that clear picture. And you really end up handing off kind of tickets between systems to systems, and we view this as a dysfunction. And we hear from a lot of folks, they basically ask about the problem, like what do we do to fix it? So the paper was really one to paint the picture of the problem, understand that it is an issue that needs to be addressed to improve work visibility, and then provide some countermeasures for folks to basically deploy to basically fight the problem.
So is this a problem that's specific to DevOps, or is it about across the systems in general?
I would say it's across systems everywhere.
Yeah.
You can't get work done unless it's visible. You can't work with other people unless it's visible. And in some of the really large organizations, it's gotten worse, or it's just horrible, because we have so many different systems that so many different people have put in place because it helps their individual team or their individual process, not the whole value stream. And so no matter what kind of processes you're using, if you don't have good visibility, it's really hard to know what's going on. And that's why I think this is very important. DevOps, it's critical, but it's critical, period, to make a business successful.
Okay, all right. So your role at Delta, I'm sure you're seeing a lot of issues such as this crop up. So how are you guys addressing it?
In our Dojo program in particular, we are seeing the needs of the customers when we do intake sessions, and then we go and work with various leaders that we see that are going to be needed, and we talk with them, and because we only have 8 weeks with these teams while they're with us, we really try to condense that. So if there's an SLA on a ServiceNow form that says 2 days or 2 weeks, whatever, we try to shortcut that because we can't accept those long runways, and so we're working to condense that time. And then more so to the, what we're trying to push for in the paper is look for those opportunities to make it visible and really kind of crush the timeline and eliminate some of the barriers and that black hole that is the request.
So, makes sense. And so, Scott, do you see it as kind of like just like tunnel vision as the reason why this is happening in organizations, or what are some of the factors that you see?
Yeah, I mean, some of the factors that kind of cause this, tool sprawl, and different groups buy different tools to optimize their workflow, and that makes sense because you're gonna, initially makes sense because you have specialty groups. So, for example, security and audit might have an audit compliance tool, and there's work tracking in there. Development teams may like a particular tool like Jira, obviously very popular, or a tool like maybe Visual Studio Team System. Those are all popular tools that are used by development orgs, and then you may have QA orgs that have different work systems, and that just kind of goes on. And as organizations grow, they buy more of those things, and then you get these silos between the groups of the work. And often to get work done for another group, you have to put some ticket in for them into their system and kind of chain that all along. And so the combination of those silos, but also then the tool specialization over time kind of creates this problem across the groups.
So wouldn't integration of these tools, wouldn't that help solve the problem a little bit, or is this something bigger than just
I
integration?
think you're getting into the countermeasures where we kind of went and said there are several different countermeasures to kind of approach this. There are several commercial tools on the market, like I think TaskTop, ConnectAll was another one we saw on here, that link these systems together, so create visibility across them. So, commercial tools that do that integration is one countermeasure. Another countermeasure is kind of consolidation and strangulation. So we at CSG use that approach. We decided to consolidate strategically on Jira, really for almost all of the workflow. And then we replicated the different work entities from their systems into Jira and then strangle off the other systems over time, so that then you get that unified dashboard in Jira. You can swivel chair. We actually do have a few spots where that's done, where we have audit, who has their audit tracking system, and they track work in there. And then I made it a mandate for my group that says you have to work out of Jira. And so if other groups are not integrated, then they have to swivel and put those tickets into Jira so that our teams can unify that dashboard. And it's up for them to go back and get that status if they haven't integrated there. So there are those kind of countermeasures that we highlight in the paper of how to attack the problem.
Is this a problem at IBM? I mean, I don't want to put you in the spotlight, but it's
a problem everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, companies I go see, companies I work with, large companies, large enterprises, the problem. IBM has the problem. I mean, we have a number of solutions. We have lots of people who are happily using RTC, and then we have the rest of the world. And so we have this disconnect in the world of how things work. And the other problem I see really is, in a company like IBM, we have systems that work for developers, but we also have this thing called clients. And we're not going to have the clients entering Jira tickets or RTC work items. There is going to be a separate system for that. It just needs to synchronize in. And so the one of the things that I focus on large companies is where you have a tool that has value, that has a good reason for existing, but really isn't a developer-friendly tool, synchronize it. Make it so that like help desk tools, you're gonna have a help desk tool, it's gonna integrate into the phone system, it's gonna do all those things, fine. Synchronize that into the development tool. And our external help system is one that everybody's gonna open PMRs. That's not a developer tool, it's not friendly at all. So we need to synchronize that in and we can get our work done. And every company's gonna have some level of having to synchronize, but then the more you can get down to one dashboard from a development operations standpoint, the better off you are.
So does automation play a role in this at all when we're talking about ways to lessen the burden, if you will?
I think definitely. I think there's two contexts of automation. One is the synchronization of automating that, but I think one of the things to think about is it's hard to automate work that you don't see. So one of our problems is we had service requests, which are standard IT requests that you ask for a service from another group. They existed in so many places that going to the next step and saying we're going to automate a certain request type, we didn't even know where that was coming from, right? It was an email, it was phone calls, Slack channels, all over the place, right? And those requests were coming into teams were processing them because they were being a good partner, but we couldn't go and say our number one request, which was, probably to change access settings for, a client, get 30,000 of those a year. We didn't even know that was the request, right? And then we go and take that and we say, okay, well, let's create a self-service form that someone can click on. So until we consolidated and made that work visible, it was hard to go to the next level to actually automate it and create self-service.
Great.
So,
is automation a topic within either Delta or IBM as part of this?
Yeah. I mean, one specific example that we recently had is, somebody needed a particular service and they had to basically create two separate requests, wait for one to get completed and then fill out another one. And again, you kind of have that black hole in between. So leveraging automation and working with the teams who are offering those services to either open up APIs or create some like Ansible playbooks to be able to execute a client install. We're able to take something that was taking, a disjointed 2 to 3 weeks down to 15 minutes. That's our goal.
Yeah, and if we look at work item systems, especially those that are integrated well into development tools, there are a lot of things it can automate to help in this process. You can get the automated links to information. So as a organization, I can just go look in the tool and see what happened with build and what happened with and where is this deployed. All of that's done automatically. Developers aren't having to go in and edit and update. I did this test, I did these. All of that can be automated, so the developers don't see this work system as just another tool that takes extra time. They see it as a valuable way of getting information together. And in a long time ago, when one of my teams worked and moved into this work visibility, they got a little annoyed at this system. This is extra work, I got to fill it out, until they realized that we could actually see the workload, we could see the work in progress, and we started taking things out of the queue. They didn't have to add that function for this release because it was too much work. So having this visibility helps everybody involved understand the real work that's getting done.
Excellent.
And I think that visibility allows you to cherry pick what you can automate. You see all these redundant tasks, and somebody can look at it and say, if this is manual today and we're doing it 30,000 times or whatever, how can we improve it?
And when we go to the next level, which is when you talk about DevOps and those types of transformations, and we discussed it in our talk, really how when product management starts to see all of the work, then it really helps in the conversations to say, okay, I've got this backlog, this team is getting 200 requests a week for all this unplanned work, whether it's service requests or incidents, that is all in that backlog now. Now the conversation with product managers is a lot easier. Do you want to invest to reduce those things, to automate those things, to stop the incidents, or to automate and self-service a service request? Because those come to the team anyways. And then the product manager gets frustrated because the product manager's like, well, I don't understand why I don't have any capacity. And now you can say, this is why you have no capacity. Do you want to fix it? Or do we want to kind of keep going on with this? So it starts to alleviate a lot of these kind of tensions that were hidden across all these systems with all this context switching and thrashing that was occurring. Now with that unified list, when we can talk about DevOps, the discussion facilitation with product managers is much better.
All right. I would imagine a byproduct of that is greater operational efficiencies. So
yes, actually fantastic, and we've seen that also as the teams can see really all their work. We've seen significant drop in incidents and improvement in reliability because of that.
Great. So this is a paper. So how would somebody if they want to read the paper, how can they get to it?
I believe you go to IT Revolution, and it's under the publications on the IT website.
All right, great. Well, Keanen and Rosalind and Scott, thank you very much for walking me through the paper and talking about this. It's really, really interesting. Thanks
for having us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.